everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Saul Lopez and I am an award-winning content creator based here in Los Angeles, California. If this is your first time here, I put videos out every Monday, Wednesday, Friday geared towards educational content for freelance photographers and videographers. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Saul Lopez or subscribe here on YouTube to learn more. In today's video, I'm going to be speaking about how I shot Khalid for Apple Music on a $300 camera. Roll the intro. All right, before we get into the details of how I shot Khalid, I'm going to show you a quick trailer of the Apple Music documentary up next. I can't show you the full thing because then YouTube will give me a copyright strike, but I'm going to show you a quick 10 to 15 second snippet of it that includes some of my footage. So here it is.
It wasn't just me. There was definitely no I. It feels like a dream.
Your location, let's focus.
All right, so if you are a returning subscriber to my channel, you will know what I'm about to say, and that is it's so important to always create your own content. I cannot stress it enough. I'll probably say it in every video, but if you are just sitting at home and you've always wanted to be a videographer, a photographer, if you want to tour the world with your favorite artist, then you need to start creating content. Period. Back in 2016, when I first bought my first camera, started making my first videos, I was just looking to shoot anything and everything that I could get my hands on. I actually bought my first camera off of Amazon for $600, and this is actually that exact same camera right here. It is the Canon EOS Rebel SL1. It came with a 18 to 55 millimeter kit lens and a long zoom lens that is absolutely garbage. But this is what I started on back in 2016. Nothing crazy. I spent a good amount of savings to buy this. It was $600 at the time, but now you can find it on eBay or somewhere else for like $300 or less. One of my goals back in 2016, and still one of my goals to this day, is to be a tour videographer. I would love to just create like tour documentaries or like mini vlogs. I think those would be super cool. But like I mentioned, I knew that's important to just create your own content. You know, you have to start somewhere. You're not going to be touring with Travis Scott right off the bat. One of the opportunities that I jumped on immediately was Complexcon 2016, which is actually the first year that they held Complexcon. It was here in Long Beach, and I remember seeing the lineup be announced, and it was Kid Cudi, Travis Scott were headlining. And then way down in the list, I saw that Khalid would be performing on one of the Pigeons and Planes stages. So I actually hit up my friend Jahan and my friend EJ, and I asked them if they wanted to go, and we bought a ticket, and then we headed over there. I viewed it as a great opportunity to just try to bring in a camera and create some content around some of the musicians that would be performing that day. I brought my camera to Complexcon 2016. All I brought was a 50 millimeter prime lens and just went in. Luckily, they didn't say anything. I was able to bring it in, and actually people had their own cameras there. I definitely could have like rented a nicer camera and like brought a bigger lens and created some better looking content than what I was able to with my Canon EOS Rebel SL1. Nonetheless, I was working with what I had, and that's something I highly recommend. If you don't have the money to buy a DSLR, if all you have is an iPhone or an Android, just use that. It doesn't even matter. It's just important to get started. I remember I actually found out about Khalid earlier that same year, or around 2015, through another YouTuber who was actually just using a lot of his music, and they actually got close because of him including the music in the YouTube channel. So I thought that was pretty cool. And when I started looking more into Khalid, I actually noticed that he was from El Paso, Texas, which is where my family's from, right on the Mexico-Juarez border. So it just kind of drew me more into his music and just his overall brand. So, you know, I was hooked. I became a fan back in 2016. He was one of the artists that I definitely wanted to see, did not want to miss him. He didn't have the biggest hype around him at that point. So I was just pretty stoked to see him. I remember I literally had to force my friends to like go to that stage just to see him perform, and to my surprise there was like literally no one there. It was like kind of awkward. He was like one of the first performers of that day, and there was probably maybe like 40 people in the crowd. It was like really small, and to my surprise, like one of the things that really sticks out from his performance was that he said that that was actually his like first concert ever that he'd performed at. So I thought that was just a really cool moment, and I literally just started filming when he went on stage. I think he had like a 15-minute performance, but I filmed some footage on this camera that has terrible low light. It was really, really grainy. It did not do a good representation of what I was seeing. But you know, I worked with what I had because I had no other option. So I filmed like 3 to 4 clips. I took more photos than I filmed clips. But from these clips, I actually, when I got home later that night, I started editing, and I made like a little 30-second recap of his performance that's actually playing on the screen behind me. And I put it on Instagram, not thinking too much about it. And I also posted some of the photos. And it was kind of cool. Khalid liked liked my Instagram post of some of the photos. So that was kind of a cool little takeaway memory. I also put that same edit that I put on my Instagram. I put it up on my YouTube channel, and I kind of just left it. A few months later, one of Khalid's managers emails me to like the email that I have linked with my YouTube account. And it's in the subject line, it said something like Khalid Complexcon footage. And I was like, oh man, they're like gonna ask me to take the footage down just because of some copyright. Actually, I used the location for the background music. So I was like, all right, I'm sure they're gonna ask me to like delete it or something like that. To my surprise, his manager reached out to me because Apple Music was featuring Khalid as like an up and coming music artist that they just really wanted to spotlight. And they had seen my Complexcon footage, and they were asking if they could use some of it in the documentary. Again, this is literally 2016. I had just bought my camera like 6 months before. Like, I was just starting to get into this creative field, didn't know what I was doing, and this was just like a massive opportunity. Like right off the bat, I was able to contribute to like a big client and company. So I immediately responded. I said yes, and I, you know, neatly packed some of the Complexcon footage into a Dropbox folder. I had actually gone to 2 other concerts, one at the Roxy here in Hollywood and one at the Observatory in Santa Ana. And my same friend Jahan, he let me borrow his phone at the concerts because he had a really nice camera on his Android phone as opposed to like my iPhone. So I filmed like just some crowd footage of him at both concerts. So I also included that into the Dropbox folder, and they actually ended up using a good amount of the Complexcon footage, and then that same Android footage from both concerts actually ended up in the trailer as well as the documentary. So yeah, it was just kind of mind-blowing. I was like, man, this is an artist that I just discovered like less than a year ago. I just picked up my first camera, and like my footage is already being used in an Apple Music documentary. So yeah, that's kind of the story of how I filmed Khalid for Apple Music on a $300 camera. But just the bigger takeaway from this, if you're watching and you want to be a music videographer, photographer, just get started. You know, there may not be concerts right now, but you can just take portraits of your family, take portraits around your community, whatever it is, just get started and get those creative juices flowing. With that being said, I really appreciate you watching. I hope that you took something away from this video. If anything, just get started and use whatever equipment you have. Equipment does not matter. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you stay safe out there, and I'll see you next week.
I might just hit it through. That's on my element. I like dark skins, love a melanin, talk, pushing the tongue when I'm stepping in.